With so many great stories told throughout the year, it seemed a given that some would fall flat, but then there are others that ended in horrendous fashion, or didn't really end at all, providing a non-conclusion for all of the hours suffered. Let's take a look at the worst video game endings of the year. Major spoilers follow, so be warned. Balan Wonderland. When most of the context for your game's story is explained in a separate, near 200-page book, there are bound to be problems. Lance is defeated and subsequently dragged off by the Nagati. Balan reveals himself to be a similar being to Lance, and nothing more? What was his relation to Lance, aside from their names sounding like balance when combined together? As for Leo, he finally fulfills his dream of being able to dance, while Emma realizes that her servants were actually planning a birthday party, as opposed to gossiping rudely. What the point of it all was, the Tims, Balan's theater, and the truth behind Balan and Lance is never revealed. Good riddance. Deathloop. I wasn't overly wowed by Deathloop, but its characterization, premise, and intriguing backstories were intriguing. What awaited upon finally taking down the Visionaries and meeting Juliana? What would happen upon breaking the loop? You're presented 3 choices in the final confrontation. Kill Juliana and commit suicide to break the loop, awakening on the beach while she simply disappears after not killing you. Kill Juliana and reset the loop as Colt mutters about how beautiful it is. Or spare her and become friends to hunt Blackreef's residents, because why not? Each ending feels like a tease to something else, or just completely out of left field given things that happened prior. It would help if the story was trying to convey some deeper message, with regards to the Eternalists and Visionaries, not to mention Colt's history in the loop, but it just doesn't. The purpose may have been to create some uncertainty, but it just makes all that busy work to finally kill the Visionaries and meet Juliana feel unsatisfying. Monster Hunter Rise. The ending of a Monster Hunter title isn't something you'd think too much about. Many fans treat the story as a glorified tutorial, while endgame is where things really get rolling. But at least, a game like Monster Hunter World properly concluded with the reveal and battle against Xeno'jiiva. At launch, Monster Hunter Rise sees you defeating Narwa, the Thunder Serpent, after which it falls through the ground, its fate unknown. Upon celebrating back at the village, you see the twins Hinoa and Minoto near the lake, seemingly speaking the thoughts of Narwa and its mate Ibushi, and then the game ends. No credits, no explanation, nothing. The various residents do speak of a new enemy on the horizon, but everything is kept intentionally vague. Regardless, your battle against the true final boss is essentially missing. It isn't until the true ending is added post-launch that the player takes on Ibushi and then Narwa the All-Mother to finally end the rampage. This might not seem like a big deal now, but it created some backlash at the time. Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. Your final battle in Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, presuming one gets there before uninstalling the game, sees you partly taking on Icewind, a white dragon. Despite being the smallest of the dragon types, white dragons were fairly dangerous, but even if you didn't know all of the details, it's still unsatisfying as hell when you finish the fight, only to see Icewind fall unceremoniously and a brief voiceover talking about how you broke the Dark Alliance, and how, together, you could overcome anything, except a horrible game, of course. Jet: The Far Shore. Jet focuses on May, a space scout who ventures out into the universe to investigate a strange signal called the Himwave. She enters hibernation after leaving her world behind and awakens centuries later. You'll meet several other characters who converse in semi-philosophical, semi-whimsical, and wholly long-winded tones. Research different flora and fauna, and flee from some enemies. Anyway, after all of that, the story abruptly ends. Everyone you meet, May's mission, whether she actually succeeded in creating a future, all of that just fades into the big nothingness of space. Poetic? Probably, but also completely unsatisfying. Back 4 Blood. The Ridden in Back 4 Blood's campaign are the result of a parasite called the Devil Worm, which came from space. Those infected become slaves to the worm's will and exist only to spread its influence. This results in the Cleaners being created with various settlements struggling to survive in this post-apocalyptic world. There is some hope of a cure, but upon returning to their base, Fort Hope, the Cleaners have to take on the Ridden and a massive foe called the Abomination. But upon slaying it, you're just left with more questions. What was the Abomination? How was it created? For that matter, what even is the Devil Worm? Maybe there's some plot twist about the Ridden still being somewhat human and not undead, thus making you question all of the murder till now. Whatever it may be, the ending of Back 4 Blood is more of a "our fight continues" non-resolution than anything else. The Medium. The story of The Medium feels somewhat inspired by Silent Hill 2, except with some World War II connections also strangely thrown in. Marianne ventures to the Niwa Workers' Resort years after a massacre took place and meets a spirit named Sadness, who warns her of the malevolent maw. We learn that both spirits are actually part of Lillian, the daughter of the resort owner Thomas. So, in the end, Marianne has to make a choice to end things, either by shooting herself to contain the maw, or Lillian, who is still alive. The gun goes off, but it's unclear who dies. There's a lot of problems with the overall messaging, but then going with a cliffhanger with no real conclusion, simply leaving it up to the player's imagination, is just lame. Outriders. Despite its corny dialogue and hyper-edgy characters, Outriders did a good job leaning into all of that and being entertaining in a B-movie kind of way. Of course, you then learn that the signal you've been following is from an Earth ship that somehow managed to reach Enoch before the Floras, subjugate the main race, the Pax, thus causing them to evolve and go crazy, and eventually creating the anomaly. The player character fights back through and manages to defeat the Pax, while the Floors launches its resource-filled cargo pods. Along with a late-game plot twist that's just completely insane, it's also annoying how the story ends in open-ended fashion, with the protagonist still looking for a good place to colonize. Hopefully the expansion will offer some kind of conclusion, because the base game just kind of leaves things hanging. Biomutant. Biomutant's lore is somewhat interesting once you look past the annoying start, seemingly nonsense decisions surrounding good versus evil, and that ever-so annoying narrator, who you can mute now thanks to the updates. There's a cycle of revenge going on, with the protagonist's mother killing a Lupa-Lupin, thinking the species too dangerous, only to allow its cub to survive, grow up, and kill the player's parents while destroying the village. This resulted in the creation of the various tribes, and after taking on the World Eaters, the player comes face to face with the surviving Lupa-Lupin. Defeating it leaves you with a choice. Do you spare the Lupa-Lupin, save the Tree of Life, and then leave the Earth with your buddies? Or kill it, resulting in the Tree of Life dying, and then leave the Earth without being able to choose your buddies? Regardless, you're just leaving the planet behind, so being good or evil never really mattered all that much. No More Heroes 3. The series is generally known for its random humor and plot twists, and that extends to No More Heroes 3 as well. Remember when his brother Henry formed a cult and ambushed Travis in Travis Strikes Again, then returns here with a completely new appearance, seemingly brainwashed before being cut in two. But that was just a doppelganger since the real Henry kills Travis, but it doesn't stick, so it's fine. Wasn't the story about fighting off an invading force of alien assassins? We eventually get to that, but that's also a ploy by Damon, Foo's friend, as revenge for Travis punching him. Seriously. Anyway, long story short, Foo's father shows up, is easily defeated by Travis's kids from the future, Gene and Hunter, and they need him to help save the future where he's been killed by Henry. Who? What? Why? That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Bolt.